You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here today to discuss our thoughts on the up-and-coming home fixture, the first 8 o'clock for us, against Everton. Joining me to talk this over, we have the normal double act, which is Robin and Kev. How are you today, Kev?
Yeah, all good, mate. Look, it's Monday night. It feels like it's a lifetime away. It's a whole weekend of football first. But yeah, all good, mate. It'll be what it'll be on Monday, but I just want it to be tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? I just want, while we've got the momentum, it's nice to see the league table and be like, oh, look at us, where we are. Monday, it's like, well, where are we going to be climbing from?
Exactly. It's going to be a strange one, shall we say. But likewise, I'll move it over to Robin. Robin, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. So, same as Kev, really. It's a bit frustrating being the very last game of the weekend. We get the advantage of looking at the table and seeing what we have to do to, either get back into the position we're in or climb even higher. So, yeah, but it means that the weekend's a bit rubbish, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But we'll be watching with eagle eyes on the table, of course, just to see, as you both mentioned, where we are going to be sat and what we can then achieve from there. But lads, if I can, please, I just want to take a minute, this is for everybody there, just before we three talk about all things footy, as you guys know. All of us here at the Shipyard Cat want to pass our thoughts and prayers on to a very young listener of ours by the name of Anna Rose. She was 9 years old and she sadly passed away last week through a tough battle with cancer. And once again, we're all here, pass our thoughts and prayers on to the family. Thank you. Right, lads, back to footy, which we know what we do best, and we have that laugh and carry on about. Let's start on the way as we mean to go on. So we're still on the high after beating Chelsea. It is one of the feats of the season, as many pundits have put it. Obviously, we need to take that attitude and that confidence going into Everton, don't we?
Well, yeah, to just, mention it, obviously, Labrie and the team got performance of the week.
Yeah.
For that. So, yeah, a great performance. Obviously, the pundits have been going on all week about how good a performance it was. It sort of shows as well by, Maresca's comments. I know I don't want to dwell on this too much because we're here to preview, obviously, Everton, but Maresca's comments, it just sort of showed that he got absolutely schooled by Labrie.
Yeah.
Some of the things he said, really, a top-class manager or coach shouldn't really be saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think he sort of put himself in a bit of a strange position by basically saying, he outthought me and I had no plan B.
Yeah.
But look, great performance by them this week. Everyone, it's an extra few days that we've got to wait to get it in, but, the lads have got that extra time on the training ground. They'll be working on more formations. Obviously, Labrie didn't give anything away in the presser. He was asked by Nick Barnes, obviously, straight off, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
And, he said he didn't know. He clearly does know, but he's not going to put it out there. It'd be a bit silly to give away your game plan. But, yeah, it looks like Aldrete's back, by what he said. He's been training. Obviously, he's passed the concussion protocol, so to speak. Simona Dingra had a slight, thigh strain or something that, they said that he's, got over now, so he'll be back in contention. It's looking like a full strength squad, really, by what we've had so far this season. Obviously, still missing the likes of Mundell and Adji and Dennis and so on, the ones that have been missing for a while. But out of all the sort of like recent ones and the new signings, it looks like everyone's obviously back and fit.
Yep.
It's exactly like Robin's just said. Talk about taking all of the commentary there, mate.
Right. I've been
Reduces.
missing a while.
Yeah, well, this is true, mate. It's good to have you, back with a spring in your step. Um, yeah, look, for me, I think LeBree's never gonna give away his trade secrets in his press conferences. Journos will always have, a very similar 5 questions that they're going to ask. How's this player? How's that player? What's this player been up to? How's that player getting on? How's this person doing? What's going on next? And for me, yeah, he does exactly what he needs to do, which is say, look, yeah, Aldrete is on the pitch because that's gonna. If the other team listen to it, it's gonna make them go, oh, so who's starting? I mean, let's be realistic. It's probably going to be the same team that started against Chelsea because I think Aldrete, whilst yes, he may have cleared concussion protocol, it's do you risk it? Obviously, we seem to set up differently at home. It's probably going to be a back four. Um, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see how he lines up against them because, for me, Everton are a team that are going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. It's just, again, another game where we need to make the Stadium of Light a difficult place to come to. So we come away with the 3 points.
Indeed, my little 10 pence on that is that I 100% agree that Everton's a tricky team. They have got some absolute players we need to keep an eye out on through their set pieces. Obviously, Grealish is there on loan. And then obviously, I believe their top scorer so far this season is it still Beto?
I
Or is it
believe so.
Beto? I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry.
Beto
Beto, I was right. There we go. For once.
makes a change.
But yeah, so that's where we need to look at. There's a couple of danger men there for them that have been doing well. And for me, I think Grealish is definitely the one we need to watch because he is a very tricky customer. He knows how to win a foul here and there. And that's what we need to avoid, those silly little fouls to give away those, to give them away and potentially giving away silly yellow cards as well. We know there's a couple that's close to the 1 game suspension. I think one of them's being Xhaka. Robin's shaking his head.
No, they've got 3.
They've got 3. All right,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. They were saying obviously it's this thing that we got to sort of like be careful of because there's still 10 games to go until the threshold sort of thing, and there's I think 2 players on 3. I think Xhaka and I think Siddiqui are on 3.
Right.
Yeah, so no one's in sort of imminent danger, what I believe.
Gotcha. Thank you for correcting me. I wasn't too sure if we did have people imminent. Nonetheless, obviously we know that this game is also going to be the return of Jordan Pickford and David Moyes. Obviously, we know Pickford loves the lads, so I feel personally a great reception will be had for him. For David Moyes, I think it's going to be. We've spoken at off pod where we think potentially Moyes is just going to get a jeer, and that's it. What are you lads thinking of? Because obviously we've seen what Moyes did to us, but at the same time, what he's done other places as well.
I mean, to me, Moyes, he look, we couldn't wait to see the back of him.
Yeah.
It's a bit different from, like say Alex Neil, who, when he came back, we made this sort of like game about him and, lost our way a bit, didn't get behind the lads and, got turned over. So, I mean, we were glad to see the back of Moyes. Yeah, he did absolutely awful at our place, but yeah, look, fair play to him. I hope he has an absolute stinker, obviously on Monday night. He's done all right elsewhere. I mean, obviously Everton, where he started sort of thing, when he got known as such. I think he'd been at Preston first or something, hadn't he? Got to obviously Everton, then horrendous spell at Man United, etc. Horrendous spell with us. Did well with West Ham, on 2 occasions. But obviously he doesn't play that sort of football like they want to play. Which I mean, it's a bit mad because surely to me, at the end of the day, the results are what's important. Yeah, you want to be entertained, but what's the point of being entertained with glorious, tiki-taka style football and losing every week? You want to get results at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's that thing, better the devil you know, isn't it? they wanted rid of him, and I don't want to talk about West Ham, but it hasn't worked for them at all. I mean, they're on their second manager this season, two last season and stuff. It's just I mean, fair play to Moisey, um, and say Pickford. I mean, he didn't play really that much for us because he was young when he left, etc. But he supports the lads when he can. He goes to the games. He winds up the mags every single time. So I mean, he's got sort of legendary status for someone that didn't play that many games, really. So yeah, look, he'll get a good reception.
Summed up perfectly, mate. Yeah, I think, look, Pickford will get a good reception. Hopefully, he stays being a lads fan and lets a few goals in for us. Just to cap off what will be hopefully a nice game for him. But no, I agree. I think he'll get a fairly good reception. It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you were right with your points, Adam, in terms of we need to be super careful with the likes of Grealish. He's incredibly good at drawing fouls from anywhere, normally the edge of a box, because it's the style of football he plays. It's that Paddy Roberts, tricky on your feet, draw a foul, move the ball forward, and I feel that's probably something we really need to be careful of. The likes of Ronaldo loves a tackle. He's got to be careful. The likes of Trey Hume's gonna have his work cut out if it's that way round. So yeah, for me, I think it's going to be a hard game. It just depends on how Moyes sets them up. Does Grealish start? Probably. You know, yeah, we've just got to see what we can do against them. Obviously, they're sitting mid-table at the minute, aren't they? So for them, it'll be a great boost if they get 3 points because it's going to pull them up the table. We just need to focus on, well, at the moment, keeping ourselves in the top half because the longer we do that, personally, I think the more we frustrate teams. I think teams do come to the Stadium of Light and think, what are they doing up there? That shouldn't be a thing, and very quickly we've got to focus on Arsenal the following weekend. It's a tough couple of games coming up, lads. Let's be honest.
Yeah, indeed. And that's what we're going to obviously come on to in a couple of weeks there when we start obviously talking about the Arsenal game. I want to touch on the under-21s. Obviously, they played their International Cup the other day, and there was a plethora of first teamers in that team. Obviously, Luke back on the pitch after his injury, so Kev, you'll be buzzing to see him actually get it. I think it was a full 90 he got, Luke did. So that was good to see. And then obviously Robbie got a goal for them as well. It was a very well taken goal. But to see the lads that have went out that played, even Pato got a start as well. And I think Robin will have a point on Pato's performance because obviously being an ex-goalkeeper. But ultimately, it was nice to see the lads getting some minutes in the legs and some effectively being like, right, if we need you, thank you for doing that. You're fresh. You've now had minutes on the pitch to actually be ready for the challenge, if that makes sense. Robin, can I just get your thoughts on obviously overall performance of the lads and obviously the critiques of Pato?
Well, look, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, none of them have played a lot of football, really. It was good to see Bobby and Minder, obviously Minder playing out on the left wing. I mean, obviously we went a goal down, on 3 minutes with a penalty. But really we should have been a goal up by then because Minder had gone through, and if he'd got his head on, I don't know who it was, had made a nice little overlap on the right-hand side. Obviously, Minder chopped back inside, and that was it, sort of thing. The opportunity was gone. Probably took his goal well. It's a run out for them. Patterson did all right. I'm nothing really to criticise him. It does look like his distribution with his feet has improved a little bit. Seemed a little bit calmer. To play the ball to a defender rather than just sort of like try and find someone on the halfway line and put it over the head for a throw in. which was his favourite trick last season. Um, so it was a bit better performance. Yeah, I mean, it was tough for them because obviously they're playing with, lads that are still learning the system, with the
Yeah,
unders and that, they're not experienced as such. Look, the Anderlecht team was good. Not going to say they weren't. There's some really good talented players in there. But it was more about those minutes in the legs for the ones that haven't played a lot. Obviously, I liked what I saw of Robbie. I think it
hmm
gives us a different option. I'm not sure he's quite ready for a full start in the Premier League just yet. But I think Minder did give us, or give Regis a lot of thought going forward that he is an option on that left wing.
yeah,
As well as like playing up front, he is an option to play on that left wing. He is direct. He does get the ball. He's strong. He likes to run with it. The only thing is he just needs to make a bit better decisions. He, like I say, you could see that he's a striker because he's
mhm,
focused on just trying to get a shot away. Whereas, times, I mean, I suppose it was, like in the Wolves game when he could have given the ball to Xhaka after a
yeah,
long bursting run, which obviously contributed to Xhaka doing more distance than anyone else, even Sadiki, for the entire weekend.
yeah,
Um, so, yeah, I mean, that's 2 games now that my end has had the opportunity to play someone in and he's not done it.
yeah,
So, yeah, he needs to learn that. But overall, it was a decent enough performance. Um, you can't really sort of say too much, just saying, oh, well, they're like first teamers. They should have been beaten under 21s. You got to think there was like, the rest of them were under 21s. Only made substitutions and brought on more under 21s. It wasn't like it was a full strength team and we
yeah,
got like
exactly.
schooled by kids, so to speak. Um,
Plus, they had a few numbers of quality talent on their squad as well, didn't they? So,
well, look, I think, with any team that's sort of like coming over at that sort of level,
yeah,
they're going to be playing good football,
yeah, of course.
and that's it. Like I say, a few mistakes and that, which I don't expect the first team would have made, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and just quickly, Kev, just to end that bit there, I just want your thoughts on obviously Luke getting back on the pitch, because obviously fangirl of over here for Luke, aren't you? So I'll let you have your 10 pence about Luke.
Yeah, I mean, look, Luke's one of those players, love him or hate him. There's a lot of fans out there that don't rate him. At the end of the day, he's, one of the longest serving players we've had, most
Yeah,
experienced player on the pitch in terms of at the club, not in terms of their football. At the end of the day, we've got Xhaka, that speaks volumes. But yeah, for me, I think it's good to see Luke back playing football. Is he going to get in the first team? No. Is he going to be on the bench? Yes. You know, Luke knows his moments are going to come when we play the likes of Burnley at the Stadium of Light, Leeds at the Stadium of Light, and he's probably going to come on as a sub. He knows those days are going to happen, probably in December, January, when we lose a few players off on, AFCON and stuff. But yeah, Luke knows that that's his place right now. And am I pleased to see him get 90 minutes? Absolutely. But, for me, the interesting side of it is that my ender ended up having to go down to that level as well, and Robbie to get a proper start in a team. Um, Obviously, we know Regis, Xhaka, and Speakman were all there.
yeah,
So for me, it's probably a little bit of scout your own player, if that makes sense. It's
yeah,
You can see so much during training, but actually seeing them play football in anger is different.
mhm,
And at the end of the day, Anderlecht have got a fairly good side. Yeah, okay, they're not Premier League standard, but it was probably a good benchmark to see where, firstly, they're at in match sharpness. Because we've said this before, haven't we? Where a player might be fit and ready, but is he match ready? And
yeah,
that's
exactly.
possibly a little bit of what my end of Robbie and Luke had to do. Look, Patterson knows his place, his bench, and
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot for him to disrupt. the roof's out of the goal. For me, I think Pato needs to focus on potentially the FA Cup when that comes round, as that maybe being his thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see. For me, at the end of the day, at the moment the starting 11 pretty much picks itself. You don't
Yeah.
change from what's been winning the games. The only thing you might change is, like I said at the start of the pod, you go from a back four to a back five and back to a back four.
Yeah.
As and when you need to.
Yeah, that was going to be something I was going to move on to there in regards to, obviously, you touched on, as you said there, Kev, right at the beginning of the pod, do you stick with the back five? Do you stick with the back, or do you move to the back four again? Because obviously we are at home. We do like to push the ball a little further when we're at home. Would we say keep the same as what we had against Chelsea and just say, right, you guys have done what you needed to do at Chelsea. You deserve this reward. Or would you say swap Geertruida for Alderete? Or would you say in this instance, Geertruida, you deserve that start. Go for it. You did well last time. Obviously, he was the catalyst for the second goal to me, getting that ball up to Broby and holding the ball up. So would you say that's well deserved for him? And then 60, 70 minutes, say, right, okay, bring on Alderete, and then go from there. Interchange it ever so slightly.
I think he'll make changes, to be honest,
Okay.
because I don't think we'll play five at the back against Everton. I think we
Mhm.
might do well. I think we probably will against Arsenal,
Right.
but I don't think we will against Everton. I think we'll go with a four.
Mhm.
Obviously, Hertruda can play in midfield as well, so
Mhm.
you'd think he could go forward into that sort of like holding midfield role.
Mhm.
But then that moves Xhaka, and I think Xhaka's far more important to be in the team in that position. So to me, I think Hertruda might come out the team.
Okay.
It's going to be tough
Mhm.
because he had a really good game, but I mean, you don't drop Ballard, you know, or Mukiela.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Aldrate is going to have a job getting back in the team as it is.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's back. Obviously, Hume's there. We've got strength at the back now. Where everyone was sort of like crying last season, we were down to bare bones. Now we've got some real good quality in depth.
Yeah.
I do think that midfield. I think the change there will be somebody more attacking.
Okay.
Whether or not he, starts with Talby and Siddiqui, not Siddiqui, sorry, Adingra on the wings
Mhm.
and brings Lefay into the middle, or whether or not he puts Rig back in the middle, keeps Lefay on the left,
Mhm.
Traore again. I think there'll be some changes. I don't think it's going to be the same team that started against Chelsea. I think we've got to freshen things up. It keeps other teams guessing as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
We don't want to give anything away, so I don't think that there's going to be many games with the strength of squad that we've got
Uh-huh.
that the team's going to stay the same very often.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Kev.
No, and Robin makes some really good points in terms of, who do you rotate. To be fair, the Gertruda thing, it's a really valid point.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we need to focus on is having people that are, well, first able to break quickly. So if Everton do leave a gap at the front, we can run at them, we've got Wilson and players like that with pace. But we also need to use the same in reverse. They've got, like I said a minute ago, they've got tricky wingers. Obviously, they've got Iliman Ndiaye, they've got Jack Grealish, they've got Beto. They've got players that can punish you if you leave yourself open. And that's something that we really need to focus on. Like I say, the main thing we need to avoid, in my opinion, is silly free kicks in our half. Because that's one thing Everton can do is lump a cross in and get someone on the end of it. And that's where, yes, okay, Mukiele is very good, Ballard's very good at clearing. there's only so many times you can kind of keep taking those body shots before you will concede. So yeah, I think for me the big focus really needs to be, if we're going to give away free kicks, just make sure they're in positions where Everton can't do anything with them.
Basically a
So
goal kick.
it sounds daft, but it does need to be
Yeah.
give them away in their own half.
Yeah.
You know,
Indeed.
Sadiki needs to be careful, obviously, because he's, like Robin said, getting close on the cards. I think, like you've said, he's on 3. Xhaka's on
Yeah.
3. The last thing we need is them topping up as we head into, December.
Yeah.
But no, for me, I think, yeah, if we're going to give away free kicks and stuff and fouls, just make sure they're in positions where Everton can do nothing with them. And I think that's the biggest thing is, if you can stop Everton getting set pieces, you'll probably prevent them from scoring. Obviously, Pickford's very good with his feet. His distribution is good. He has got a few assists to his name where he just kicks it over the top of everybody and there's someone on the other end of it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, Regis has done enough research to know how to combat that. Obviously, as Robin said, Maresca got absolutely outschooled by Regis by one change. They
Yeah.
spent the entire he said he watched 9 matches of Sunderland and never saw us go with a back 5. Regis changed it, and all of a sudden he didn't know what to do with him tactically. And I believe the wording he said was something like, in 10 minutes, I have to tell my team to forget everything they've learned for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's bad management.
Yeah. If you can't have a plan B, 100%. No, lads, great.
Just before you go on, Ed, I just want to raise
Yes,
something that might be something worth looking at. Obviously, Maresca as well made a thing about the long throws and that, and obviously he doesn't like it. Obviously, with Mukiele, the way he is with throwing the ball in like that,
Mhm.
I think we've got a big opportunity because Pickford, he's not the tallest of keepers, and he can be quite rash coming out at times.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a really good opportunity to take advantage of, the long throws to put them under pressure. I think, with the
Tarkowski
attacking
can be
options
clumsy.
we've got and the height that we've got in there, I do think we've got a good opportunity to score from another long throw this week. Obviously on the break as well, same as, like we did against Chelsea, I mean, that was a great ball up, Robbie with his play, but obviously the pace of, Wilson, Talby, etc., Lafayette's no slouch, Sadiqi's just runs and runs and runs. We have got a good opportunity. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, Everton have been a bit of a hoodoo for us in the past.
Yeah.
But I think, we're a completely different team now, and the way that we play in the till the end mentality.
Yeah.
And the different weapons we've got offensively.
Yeah.
To cause them problems.
Definitely. I will touch on one thing just before we start getting the predictions in regards to what you mentioned there in regards to the different mentality and the till the end that we've stuck to, and that mantra has gone throughout the season as well so far. Is Regis was asked about it, and he pretty much alluded to saying we have got that till the end attitude and that mentality. Chelsea proved it. We wanted to push on, we wanted to effectively prove a point. And we did. We got all 3 points. And I do agree with you. We have got those weapons for on the counter. Talby's been at the heart of that twice now. First of all, against Wolves, that run was sublime to make sure that he made that run, and obviously he got his lovely assist for it. And then likewise against Chelsea, his run was expertly ran, well timed, just to get onto the end of that ball and pass it in the back of the net. Obviously, that's gone now. So Talby's even said himself he just wants to focus on game after game, and that's it. He doesn't want to focus on the future. He just wants to concentrate on a game at a time, which I think is a very sensible mentality to have currently. Let's get some predictions underway. Myself personally, I'm going to go first this week since I got it right last time. For me, 2-0. If anybody could see Robin's just shocked at that.
I was going to say you are
Robin,
almost becoming predictable.
what? I would have said 3-0, but I want to be nice. Go on, Robin.
What, to Pickford?
Yeah.
I'm in agreement, Adam. I think it's going to be a 2-0 as well. You know, I'd like us to score quite a few more goals, but I just don't see it currently. You know, I hope they prove me wrong. You know, but I do see a clean sheet for us. I think defensively we're pretty sound, and with Robin Russ, we've got a absolutely fantastic goalkeeper there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's going to take a lot to beat him. So I do think, clean sheet and a couple of goals.
Excellent. Go on then, Kev. Ruin the party.
No, look, lads, I would love a clean sheet. I think we deserve it. We're good for it. I just think the likes of Grealish and stuff are going to they're going to draw a foul somewhere that's going to cost us. And I think the clean sheet is going to go. It's just, is it going to be 1-1 or 2-1 for me?
Yeah.
Because I think we can beat them. I do. And that's not me being, happy clapper and all the other things that we're now getting called because we're sitting, pretty in the table. But I just feel, like I say, the likes of Grealish are just able to draw fouls. Dewsbury Hall, he's another one that is also able to somehow get tackled by himself and get a foul. But as I said a minute ago, what we need to push on and probably put pressure on is the likes of, if they go with, is it Milenko, Ukrainian kid? Target him, Tarkovsky, because they're good for a foul. Tarkovsky so often is flirting with a red card, but always seems to manage to walk his way out of them. And maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to try and, keep applying pressure on the same player, get a breakthrough, and that's where we get the goal difference up. If we can get them down to 10 men, well, I say that it's sometimes harder to play against 10 men, but you got to think this Everton team drew against Wolves and we made light work of Wolves. So maybe that's the way we need to do it, is just treat these like Wolves, like West Ham, and just go at them and come out of it 3-0 up, maybe.
Definitely. It's something we can look into, and obviously we're going to have to put everything into it. And the biggest one, as you said there, Kev, is effectively make that stadium once again a fortress from minute 0 to minute end. So fingers crossed we can do that, lads. I think that's everything. So thank you for joining me, Kev. And
pleasure as always, mate. You know what it's like. Just keep doing what we're doing, it.
Indeed. Thank you to you, Robin.
No, thanks, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Excellent. And a thank you to all the listeners there. It really is much appreciated for everyone listening in, sharing the pod, everything that you do for us. And as ever, everybody else, we'll see you on the next one.